Stebelton Park at Rockmill in Lancaster, Ohio, in the United States of America. Hi everyone, my name is Austin Elias and I'm here at the beautiful Rockmill Park in Lancaster, Ohio. And here, there's a tale to be told. Rockmill Park is located in Lancaster, Ohio, a city in central Ohio that lies south and east of the capital of Columbus. Rockmill was a flour mill that utilized the Hocking River as the source of its energy. It is a 5-story tall structure with a water mill at its base that reaches down to the riverbed below. Across from the mill, a 14-foot waterfall that has a 12 to 14-foot deep pool at its base, with a covered bridge sitting above the river behind the waterfall. Stebelton Park is open year-round from dawn till dusk, while the rock mill itself is only open from May to October, Saturdays and Sundays from noon to 4, with the last Sunday of every month being the day in which they hold demonstrations of how the grinding process worked. This beautiful mill, with its pristine water wheel, quaint bridge, and lovely little waterfall, is all thanks to the efforts of conservationists, volunteers, community, and of course, taxes. Because sometimes taxes can be a good thing. Sometimes. Though before you can truly appreciate all the modern, rebuilt rock mill has to offer, we need to take an in-depth look at its past and the story it has to tell. The first rock mill, 1799 to 1820. The first mill was built in 1799 by Joseph Loveland and Hezekiah Smith. It was one of the first mills in the Ohio frontier, with one of the few closest other mills being either in Pennsylvania or in Kentucky. This lack of competition and restrictions on other available options for milling and their services led to the success of the first rock mill in Lancaster. Though it is important to remember that during this time, goods were often bartered, not paid for in a direct currency, so the mill's profit was often keeping a certain percentage of flour and corn that was made or grinded. The booming business of the mill eventually led to the building of a general store and eventually a tannery as well. And as business increased, they built a distillery and the Blue Ball Tavern. The great success of the first mill and its surrounding area, however, would not last, because 21 years later, after it was built in 1820, the first mill literally fell into the gorge. The second rock mill, 1820 to 1822. The area would not sit long without a mill though, and later in the same year of 1820, a new mill would be erected at the same site. James Brooke erected a new mill that same year in 1820. The date is not completely verifiable though, but B.M. Brooke, the grandson of James, recalled that when he was 5 years old, the mill was being built by his grandfather. He remembered this specifically because during the construction, his father fell into the deep pool of water at the bottom of the ravine, making it a rather scary and memorable experience for him growing up. One that inadvertently started a tradition of sorts, as many people through the years have used Rockmill and its 12 to 14 foot deep pool as a place to cliff jump from the 30 to 40 feet high cliffs above. Though it is technically illegal today to jump from Rockmill, as it will likely gain you a ticket or a fine, some brave or hard-headed individuals may attempt it still. They'll be warned, the area around the pool is only around a foot deep. So don't miss the jump, hopefully. The legacy of the second mill, though, would not last as long as B.M. Brooks' father's tradition, as that mill would be washed away by a flood in 1822. Third rock mill, 1824 to the present. The heyday, 1824 to 1905. The property changed hands again, leading to Christian Morhart, who built this rock mill, the very same one you see here. This mill he built a bit higher up the rock, and more out of the way of the flood waters below, which ultimately prevented this third and final rock mill from succumbing to the same fate as the other two. All the timber framing is oak. It is 5.5 stories tall. It rests on 2 sandstone ledges in such a way that the bottom 2 floors, the power and grinding levels, are practically subterranean. 3.5 stories stand above the rim of the deep gorge, while from the base of the mill to the riverbed below is roughly 30 to 40 feet, with the top of the rock mill standing roughly 80 to 90 feet from the riverbed below. A 26-foot overshoot water wheel powered the mill. The water wheel was powered by the waters of the Hocking River, which were dammed above the 14-foot high natural waterfall and channeled to the mill area. A mill race, the channel that feeds the water wheel, was chiseled through the solid rock just above the falls and in front of the mill. The mill race was 30 feet long, 18 feet deep, and 3 feet wide. Water from it was then transported to the wheel by a wood flume. It served as a flour and grist mill, one of a dozen mills in the area whose power source was the Hocking River. It is said Morehart intended the new mill to be used for wool as well, so the upper floors were believed to be built to accommodate machinery related to it. But the wool machinery was never installed. Morehart passed away on June 4th, 1859. The mill then passed into the hands of Philip Hormerhouse, then to John Foray. A company named Salt, Alsbog, Bros, and Foray then operated the mill for a period of time, after which Ed Alsbog bought out the other partners. An 1899 remodeling resulted in the installation of a water turbine. However, it did not work as intended, and in 1901, the power source was changed to steam. Rockmill stayed in operation as late as 1905, though eventually it ceased operations in that same year. A state of disrepair, 1905 to 2003. The mill changed hands several times over the next couple decades, though nothing was ever done with the mill, and it largely sat in disrepair. At some point, Ursel Alsbach became the owner of the mill and the surrounding property. And in 1994, Robert Stebelton, or Bob Stebelton, bought the property from Alsbach. Bob Stebelton would take it upon himself to try to restore the mill, pouring concrete footers and installing a massive steel beam to prevent the mill from falling and from it having the same fate as the previous two mills. Though by 2003, Bob realized that the project was more than one man could handle. Rising from the ashes. After Rockmill had sat for nearly 100 years in disrepair, and even with the efforts of Bob Stebelton, it became clear, as his wife once put it, the undertaking got to be a little bit too much for one man to restore Rockmill to its former glory. Rather than allow it to decay beyond repair and lose the mill forever, Bob and Rita Stebelton decided to donate it to Fairfield County Parks. Hence, after 2003, a labor-intensive restoration project had begun. There was an excavation at the site that revealed the original millstones and many artifacts from a bygone era. New sidings, wood windows, shutters, beams, and posts were replicated to replace rotten and missing pieces. Stonework was done below ground to the foundation. A master carpenter was used to recreate stairs and the milling floor. Massive new wood gears were constructed. A millwright was engaged to craft a replica of the 26-foot diameter wood wheel. It was installed in September 2012 and is the largest of its kind in the state. With the help of a 2003 state grant of $129,000, the covered bridge, the one you see here, was able to be restored. Private donations to the project helped fuel its completion. It was averaging around $15,000 a year in donations to the project from 2004 to 2007. Though I can't really find any other information on any other year's donation averages. Dave Fay was the director of the Fairfield County Parks Commission, and he was absolutely instrumental in the completion and in the entire project at Rockmill. Dave Fay gave 1,400 different presentations and info sessions to help garner donations and get state grants and other source of funding for the project. In 2011, a levy was passed by the local community for $1.3 million to go annually to the Fairfield County Park System over the course of 10 years. This would come out of a tax on home values of $12 for every $100,000 in home value that a property had. This greatly helped all the parks in the Fairfield County system and helped fund the restoration and the completion of the Rockmill project. When it all was said and done, Dave Fay estimated that around $1.2 million went into the restoration of Rockmill. That averaged out to about $85,715 a year over the 14 years it took to restore Rockmill. In his estimate, I believe it also included the people that volunteered their time and various people and specialists that volunteered equipment or materials to the project. Thanks to the efforts by Bob and Rita Stebelton, the Fairfield County Park System, the former director Dave Fay, countless volunteers, craftsmen, specialists, donors, and most importantly, the people of Fairfield County. Rockmill roared back to life in 2017. My tale to tell at Rockmill. As somebody that grew up around the Fairfield County area almost all of my life, it was absolutely amazing to finally see Rockmill in the gym it had become. Seeing the restoration efforts come to fruition was unbelievable, and seeing the mill itself is like stepping back through time. Especially in the interior, where so much of it is so beautifully recreated, and in many ways so authentically recreated as well. With a lot of generous donations, there's a lot of amazing mill equipment inside to see and really see pieces of history and how the mill itself worked. And especially since on the end of every month, on the last Sunday, they do demonstrations of how the mill actually worked and how the grinding process itself went down. Now, I didn't get to see one of those, but I'm sure it was amazing. We did get to see the milling area, though, and the general areas of the mill. We did get to see all levels of the mill, though, and we got to see the gears and the grinding stones and everything, and we had an absolutely wonderful, amazing guide. I don't want to say his name because he was just an awesome person, and I want to keep his privacy to him, but I can't thank him enough, and all the Fairfield County volunteers that were there that donate their time to help tell the story of Rockmill in person, and there's just so many cool little things that they can impart on you. And it was an amazing experience to learn about the history of my own community, basically. And it's an area I really didn't know much about, and it's amazing to see. Historical significance. Rockmill just looks gorgeous. The reconstruction of the mill itself, the mill sidings, windows, and everything look pristine and just absolutely beautiful to watch. As well as the covered bridge, its restoration looks amazing. The white covered bridge, especially when it's a sunny day, looks absolutely stunning and shines and looks brilliant. And then the most beautiful thing of all there, of course, is the natural beauty. The natural beauty of the river there, the Hocking River, and the absolutely gorgeous little waterfall there. And its pristine little blue pool. It makes the entire site a wonderful experience, and something I definitely won't forget, and something I am so mad at myself for never exploring before or knowing about when it was right here in my own backyard. And the most important thing I want you to take away from this video, and ultimately this series that will be on this channel, is there's so many wonderful and beautiful places in each and everyone's backyard. Though too often we let these wonderful historical sites or beautiful natural reserves or places be thrown by the wayside and forget that they're there, or we let them be destroyed and lost forever. One of the greatest things about Rockmill is the complete effort by everyone involved to resurrect this beautiful place, to have this phoenix rise from these ashes, and to see a historical place in the pristine, most beautiful condition it could be. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and encourage each and every one of you to go and check out your local parks, communities, natural places, and anywhere and everywhere in between. I want to thank everyone involved in the rebirth and the resurrection of the beautiful Rockmill. A special thanks to Becca for helping make all this possible. If you guys like this series, please make sure to leave a like. It will help this channel grow. And if you guys are interested in seeing what comes next, what other parks I'll explore, and where else my journey may take me, please make sure to subscribe. I plan on telling many more stories, especially here in Fairfield County for now, though I plan on branching out to other public parks and other places around the US and internationally as well. Well, this has been Austin Elias, and this was the story to tell at Rockmill. I hope one day you can come and visit this amazing place. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao for now.